Hello everybody and welcome to a spooky time with King Noosme. So last week I set up a poll and I asked you guys to vote between the 3 most requested Haunting Hour episodes. And I'm not gonna lie, out of the 3, I thought Dreamcatcher was gonna win, but Scarecrow, he barely squeaked it out. There was a time when it was like 48 and 49%. It was quite close. It was crazy. I do want to let you guys know that this episode is not as scary. It has scary elements, trust me. It is kind of freaky, but the ending of it is just kind of sad. I don't know what to tell you. It just leaves me with dread. It's awesome. We start the episode on a peaceful farm when we get to meet our main character, Ginny, who is played by our favorite reoccurring actress, Bailey Madison. She's having trouble with crows eating her crops. Her dad gave her an acre of land so that she can learn how hard it is to make money growing crops. And obviously she's having a rough time. This is when her older brother, Bobby, chimes in and talks about how easy it is to herd cattle. All you gotta do is go out there, give them some hay, and they eat it. That's all you gotta do with them. See, he's gonna use those cattle to sell for meat to make a lot of money. So he has the easy job in the family. But nobody just sits around, everybody helps out in this family, so while Bobby's not doing anything, he has to run to the store and get some chicken feed, which he will gladly do because he has a crush on the cashier. Ginny even calls her Emo Amy because she has bangs and she listens to rock music. Me and Ginny have different ideas of emo people.
Because tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
Cut to the store and Amy is listening to a song that kind of slaps. Wait, does that make me emo? Anyway, she's listening to her music too loud and doesn't hear them come in, and they kind of scare her a little bit. Ginny points out that she's a little jumpy today, and it's because she's been reading these creepy poems out of this book. And she starts reading a poem called The Hollow Man to them out loud. And this is an actual poem. I guess the person that wrote this episode read the poem and then decided to make this episode around the poem. Kind of sick. If you want to read it, here it is right here. Take a second, pause it. Cool. She starts reading the poem to them when a creepy man interrupts her to finish the poem for her.
Our dried voices, when we whisper together, are quiet.
He then asks the kids if they know the true meaning of the poem. See, the poem seems like it's about scarecrows, but no, it's really about the end of the world. He then talks about how he doesn't understand why people are so edgy and touchy about talking about the end of the world. He then pays for his jerky and leaves, but not without pointing out how loud the bell is.
Loud, ain't it?
That night, Bobby's dog looks scared and hides underneath Bobby's bed. That's when we see the stranger that was in the store earlier is outside of their house, kind of watching it. Very creepy. And the next day, his car is still there when Ginny gets dropped off for school. He pulls into the driveway and talks to her for a second, but we don't get to hear that conversation. All we get to see is him leaving as Bobby pulls in. So Bobby pulls in and asks Ginny what was going on there. The strange man asked her if they have any pests, which Ginny does. He told her that he has a scarecrow so scary it'll scare anything away. And we do see that Ginny now has a sack over her shoulder that she didn't have before. Bobby understandably tells her to never talk to him again. He's probably not a good guy.
He's not a creep. He just wanted to help.
He's nice. Oh yeah, he's nice. He looked so nice yesterday when you were trembling behind your big brother. Yeah, okay. But Bobby, in a more serious brotherly tone, he tells her that if he comes around again, you come get me or dad. The siblings in this show are awesome. They wrote great siblings in this show. He then points out the sack and asks her what it is.
Send me for a school project.
But she lies to him and tells him it's just a homework. It's just a homework? Yeah, okay. It's just a little something for homework. He doesn't need to worry about it. Later that night, Ginny, alone in the barn, makes the scarecrow.
You are a scary scarecrow. We wouldn't be of much help if you weren't, though.
After she stuffs him with straw, she goes to grab a post to put him on, but when she walks back in, the scarecrow is not there. Furious, she runs inside to ask her brother if he took her scarecrow, but before she can say anything, he asks about his dog, because he hasn't seen his dog all day. But she doesn't really care about that. She knows that his dog will probably turn up. She is more worried about her missing scarecrow. And when she asks Bobby about it, he doesn't know what she's talking about. He then realizes what's going on and that she lied to him earlier. He told her not to take anything from the strange man, but she took this scarecrow anyways and lied about it. So they go outside to talk about it. Bobby asks their parents if they've seen a scarecrow, and they said no, they didn't know what they were talking about. And then he just mentioned that Ginny's thinking about getting one, nothing you need to worry about. So he kind of covered for her, which is another good brother thing. And while they're outside, they start talking about the scarecrow and like what could have happened to it. Maybe some bullies took it or something. That's when they notice that there's no noises outside. It's almost completely silent. There's not even crickets. Which, if you didn't know, that's kind of weird. Like, if it's just silent outside, something's up. The next day, Ginny goes outside to scare the birds away with her little doohickey thingamajig. But as she's rotating the thing, no birds fly away. And it looks like her crops haven't been eaten either. That's all thanks to the scarecrow that ended up in her field. But she didn't put it there. She runs to get Bobby, and Bobby has a great question.
How'd it get there?
If we knew how it got there, Bobby, we wouldn't be here right now, right? Bobby suggests that they burn the Scarecrow because it creeps him out. Sounds like a great idea to me. But Ginny absolutely hates the idea. It's helping keep the crows away, so it must be doing its job. Later that evening, Bobby takes some hay out to the cows, but when he gets out there, the cows aren't in the field. Huh, that's kind of weird. But back in town, Amy goes to a local diner, and while she's in line, she notices a familiar face leaving the store. That's a little weird. Oh well, it must be nothing. We cut back to Ginny picking her corn by herself in the field when she hears rustling in the corn. It sounds like it's coming up behind her, and fast, and it's just her brother Bobby. He's looking for his cattle and their parents. Their parents seem to have gone missing too. But before Ginny can say anything, he gets a call from Amy. Wait a minute, is that the meme ringtone? It is. That's awesome. Amy calls him crying that she has this cold feeling inside of her and that she's feeling really weird right now. She then proceeds to say the most confusing thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's this cold feeling. It's cold like the grave, but it's not like death and it's not like life either.
And when she looks up, she sees the Scarecrow on the church steeple. She then screams and the phone hangs up. Now Bobby is concerned and decides to go head into town to try and find her. And when he gets there, he finds the town completely empty. No noise. The only noise is coming from the music in the diner. But he does find Amy's phone laying on the sidewalk. And as he's looking for anybody in town, Ginny calls him again and she says that the Scarecrow is now gone. And about this time, this is when Bobby hears a car driving through the town. And would you guess it? It's the strange man driving. Bobby tells Ginny to run inside and go lock all the doors. But by the time he tells her this, it's already too late. Ginny hears footsteps creeping towards her in the corn. And no matter where she goes, she comes face to face with... After some time, she finally makes it out of the cornfield, and as she's running to the house, she sees the strange man's car parked outside in their driveway. And when she runs inside, she sees a long trail of hay going throughout their house. That means that the Scarecrow somehow got inside their house before she did. So now nowhere is safe, and Ginny decides to just make a run for it outside, but... the Scarecrow meets her at the door. Sorry to break your immersion. It's really intense right now, I understand, but Bailey Madison's acting in this scene is insane. It's like top tier, too good for television acting. Like, it is crazy good. She's probably one of the best child actors I've seen in my life. After that, Bobby makes it home to see the Scarecrow sitting at the kitchen table. And it looks like it's been waiting for him. But he kind of ignores it. He starts calling out to Ginny. He needs to find his sister. That's when suddenly the stranger appears where the Scarecrow was. Bobby turns and asks him what happened to his sister. But the stranger doesn't care right now. He just wants Bobby to listen to the silence, the peace.
You hear that? Nothing. Lovely stillness.
But Bobby doesn't care about that right now. He wants to know where his sister is. That's when the stranger says,
Gone, gone. Everyone's gone.
He says that it's no one's fault and it's always meant to be this way. And he wanted to share the peace of the end of the world with somebody, and that somebody is Bobby. He then creepily recites the poem from earlier in almost complete silence before showing us two scarecrows guarding the corn. One of them, the strange man, the other one is Bobby. So yeah, this episode's depressing and makes me think about things I don't want to think about. I think it's a little too deep for children to think this hard about the end of the world, but I'm glad they made this episode. It's such a good episode. It doesn't have a big grandiose ending like Mascot or even Scary Mary, but it kind of ends in line with the end of the world in the show. It's kind of very calm, if you will. Doesn't make it any less fucking strange that he got turned into a scarecrow. And what happened to literally everybody else? Did they just disappear or something? Or did they also get turned into scarecrows? I don't know. They didn't really explain that very well. So yeah, that was the end of Scarecrow. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Also, comment down below any other episodes you want to see me talk about. I think I've pretty much gotten every episode as a recommendation to talk about. Let me know any other shows or any other episodes in a certain show you want to see me talk about. How about that? Thank you for watching the video all the way through. I appreciate you all, and peace.